Before the noise, the fame, and the myth, there was just a band with ideas, and a man who knew how to turn those ideas into sound. George Martin wasn't just the fifth Beatle. He was the mind that translated imagination into music. Without him, the Beatles might still have been good, but with him, they became timeless. Number 10. He recognized their potential when others didn't. Before the Beatles were legends, they were just another struggling group being rejected by labels. Most producers didn't get them. They thought the songs were too rough, the performances too raw. But George Martin heard possibility. He didn't sign them for what they were, but for what they could become. His belief gave them a chance to enter Abbey Road, and that studio became their universe. Without Martin's early faith, there is no Beatlemania, no cultural shift, no revolution in sound. He set the stage before the world even knew there was one. Number 9. He elevated their songwriting with music theory. John and Paul wrote melodies from instinct, beautiful, emotional, but unstructured. George Martin brought the architecture. He introduced chord voicings, modulations, harmonic surprises that made Beatles songs feel richer and deeper. Instead of correcting them, he expanded their language. Suddenly, simple pop became symphonic pop. He didn't just produce, he taught by letting them grow. Their melodies stayed theirs, but now they had wings. The Beatles were still the Beatles, but operating at an entirely new level. Number 8. He helped shape their signature vocal sound. The Beatles' harmonies weren't just natural talent, they were carefully crafted. George Martin refined their blend, adjusted tone, and arranged harmonies so the voices didn't compete, but interlocked. The warmth of This Boy, the cosmic blend in Because, the emotional lift in If I Fell. These weren't accidents. Martin treated their voices like instruments in an orchestra, balancing brightness, depth, and blend. Without Martin, we still get harmonies, but not the harmonies that feel like one shared soul. Number 7. He introduced classical elements into pop. Before Martin, rock and roll rarely touched orchestras or chamber-style arrangements. With him, strings entered the room, not as decoration, but as emotional language. The strings in Yesterday, the orchestral swell in A Day in the Life, the harpsichord textures, all came from Martin's classical background. He helped the Beatles step beyond genre. Their music didn't just sound bigger, it felt cinematic, emotional, eternal. It was the bridge between popular music and art music, and George Martin held the blueprint. Number 6. He turned the studio into an instrument. The Beatles didn't just record songs, they created worlds. Tape loops, reversed audio, vari-speed vocals, double-tracking techniques. These came from collaboration between the Beatles' imagination and Martin's technical genius. He wasn't afraid to experiment, even when the equipment wasn't made for experimenting. The result? Albums didn't just play music, they played experiences. Without Martin, Abbey Road isn't a laboratory, it's just a studio. Number 5. He encouraged their creative risks. When the Beatles wanted to try something unusual, a sitar, tape collage, choir, heartbeat rhythms, most producers would have said no. George Martin said, "Let's see what happens." He didn't limit their ideas, he expanded them. Because of Martin, experimentation wasn't the exception, it became the identity. The Beatles grew because someone trusted their imagination more than the rules. Number 4. He helped shape their album concepts. George Martin didn't just record songs, he shaped albums. Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper, and Abbey Road feel unified because Martin understood flow, tone, pacing, and emotional arc. Without him, the albums would feel like collections. With him, they feel like journeys. He helped turn rock albums into works of art. Number 3. He serves as the band's mediator. The Beatles were brilliant and often clashing. John intense, Paul perfectionist, George spiritual, Ringo steady. When conflicts rose, Martin often became the calm center. He knew how to bring them back to music when ego or emotion took over. He wasn't just a producer, he was a guide. Number 2, his arrangements became iconic signatures. The piccolo trumpet on Penny Lane, the string quartet on Eleanor Rigby, the final orchestra crescendo on A Day in the Life. These weren't just ideas. They were moments that defined entire eras of sound. George Martin didn't decorate songs, he completed them. Number 1, he helped the Beatles become the Beatles. Without George Martin, the Beatles are still talented, but they are not the Beatles. Not the sound, not the vision, not the cultural force that reshaped the world. He didn't just make their music better, he helped them become who they truly were. The world remembers the Beatles, but the man who helped them sound immortal deserves to be remembered just as loudly.